What up, nerds? I'm Jay Sharif. Welcome to another episode of Tech Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, I make a video about whatever gadgets or tech I've bought in the last week, and I've had some exciting deliveries in the last 7 days. I've received not one, not two, but three rugged solar power banks, and today we're going to have a look at this quirky little niche. It's not as boring as it sounds, okay? However, I can't promise a roller coaster ride of emotions. It's an episode about charging your phones, cameras, and accessories. There is almost zero chance of excitement in the next 7 minutes. Let's get started. Now, none of these are branded. They're all from generic Chinese manufacturers, so I'm just going to call them Power Bank A, Power Bank B, and Power Bank C. All of them can charge multiple devices at once, and they'll work for both my smartphones and my action cameras. 2 of these I bought with my own money, the other one I was sent for free. But, as always, I will give you an unbiased review. On this channel, I will always be straight with you. I will always give you an honest opinion. So firstly, I have this rugged and supposedly waterproof power bank. This one, which I'm calling Power Bank A, is priced at £45 on Amazon. I will say up front that it's not worth that as far as I'm concerned, and there are plenty of similar ones available on Amazon that can be picked up for about half that price. Power Bank A has a battery capacity of 22,000 milliamp hours, which is plenty big in all honesty. A quick lesson for you now about batteries. In case you weren't aware, there are 2 important numbers when it comes to batteries. If you take the battery out of your camera or your phone, then you will see values on it for voltage, which is a number followed by the letter V, and for milliamp hours, which is usually written as a number followed by the letters MAH. So here is an example of a Sony battery. As you can see, this is the Sony NP-BX1. If you have a Sony camera, then there's a good chance you own one of these already. As you can see, this battery is 3.6 volts and it has a capacity of 1,240 milliamp hours. The voltage value is something I'm sure most of you already understand. Voltage tells you the size of the electronic force that's pushing electrons out of the battery. That's the simplest way I can think of for describing voltage. The battery is pushing electrons out of one side and, in normal operation, electrons are also coming back into the battery from the other side. And this is a lovely little visual animation of a battery in action. Most of the batteries you'll come across will have a voltage of 1.5. So this AA, this size C and this size D are all 1.5 volts. They are noticeably different though. And the difference between them is all to do with capacity. In other words, how long can they keep running? And that's the second most important metric when it comes to batteries. What is the battery capacity? In other words, how much energy can we get out of it? So, this power bank A, has a battery capacity of 22,000 milliamp hours. Is that a lot? Well, yes, that's quite a lot for day-to-day use. For the sake of comparison, this is my 4-year-old GoPro. The battery inside this GoPro is just 1,000 milliamp hours, and the battery inside my main camera is about the same size as well. What that means is that the 22,000 milliamp hours battery in Power Bank A could recharge this GoPro 22 times. Here's a quick visual comparison of battery sizes in some popular cameras and phones. Power Bank A has enough capacity to recharge a large modern smartphone maybe 5 or 6 times. Alternatively, it could recharge a modern iPad about 3 times over. That's a pretty big capacity. So, some quick observations first. This Power Bank A is trying very, very hard to look outdoorsy. It has this powerful torchlight on the back, which could come in handy if you're away from civilization. It also has multiple modes of operation. There we go, SOS. This carabiner here suggests it's something to take with you when you go hiking or mountain climbing. However, I've got to say, I'm not convinced it's particularly rugged. It feels very light and very plasticky, and these blue lights on the front are supposed to tell you how much charge remains, but as you may be able to see, they're not exactly working well, which suggests the build quality is pretty poor. Also, I am very sceptical about the claim that it's waterproof because this cover over the USB inputs and outputs is very, very flimsy. It could probably keep out some light rain, but realistically, that's the limit. I definitely wouldn't be taking it swimming with me. The next solar power bank that I've got was given to me for free. This is Power Bank B. It normally costs £20 on Amazon, and I think that it's far, far superior to the more expensive one I actually paid for. When you look at them side by side, a couple of things are immediately obvious, I would hope. Firstly, they are both using exactly the same solar panel. And I do mean exactly the same in every way. It is identical. Secondly, this cheaper power bank is significantly smaller. However, what will probably surprise you is that the smaller power bank is actually much heavier, and it also has a much bigger internal battery. It can store almost 5,000 milliamp hours more than the first one. The total capacity is close to 27,000 milliamp hours. I do think Power Bank B does seem to be of a much better build quality. While this one does claim to be rugged and waterproof, it does feel like Power Bank B will outlast Power Bank A by many years. What it doesn't have is an inbuilt torch, but to be honest, that's a very, very minor concern. So at this stage of the game, Power Bank B is definitely in the lead. But let's not decide too quickly, because now it's time to review Power Bank C, and on paper, this one is supposed to be better than both of the others. Power Bank C will set you back a little bit more than Power Bank B. It costs £27 on Amazon. It does have a slightly bigger solar panel. It also has the same large internal capacity as Power Bank B. It's supposed to be rugged and waterproof, just like Power Bank A, and it has an inbuilt torch as well. While the other two can only charge 2 devices at once, Power Bank C can charge up to 4 devices at once. But wait, there's more. Power Bank C has a very special party piece. Wireless charging. This little gadget can wirelessly charge your phone. That's obviously only going to be possible if you have one of those newfangled phones that can utilize wireless charging stations. Luckily for us, I do. This is my Ulefone Armor 6. It's also a rugged and waterproof device, and I'm now going to try and charge it wirelessly using Power Bank C. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is press this button to turn it on. The light turns red, and then you put your smartphone on top here, and if it's working, the light should turn blue. It has turned blue, and my phone is now charging wirelessly. What I've got here are 2 rugged and waterproof devices, one of them a solar power bank that's recharging the other one. I know I'm too easily pleased, but that has really impressed me. I love that. Okay, so having reviewed all 3 of these, I now need to decide which is the best. Power Bank A. What can I say? I really don't like Power Bank A. It feels bulky, it has poor build quality, it's a lot more expensive, and it has the smallest battery capacity of the 3. Now, to be fair, 22,000 milliamp hours is still a huge amount. Taking everything into account though, I'll definitely be sending this one back. Power Bank B and Power Bank C have the same battery capacity, almost 27,000 milliamp hours each. They both seem well built, and I'd be happy to own either of these. I do give the edge to Power Bank C, however, simply because it's more rugged and it has wireless charging. Right now, that's not a big deal. In future, wireless charging of your phone will become the norm, and having that facility on a rugged waterproof device is fantastic. So overall, I'm going to declare Power Bank C the winner. But now it's time to be really, really honest. One important thing to remember about all of these solar power banks is that they aren't actually that good at solar charging. You are supposed to charge them at home and then take them out with you, because the solar panels can't really generate a lot of energy. This is a gimmick at best, because the solar recharge rate is very, very slow, and for that reason I can't really bring myself to recommend any of these. Also, they are pretty damned heavy, and I don't fancy keeping one of them in my camera bag. They're only useful if you're genuinely heading into the wilderness for a week. Obviously, I'm holding on to this one that they sent me as a gift for free, but I don't recommend that you should buy a solar power bank. In the meantime, I'm actually going to keep this in my camera bag. It's a 5,000 milliamp hours power bank. It cost me just £10 and I picked it up at my local supermarket a few years ago. It's extremely thin and lightweight. It will charge the average big modern smartphone at least once, which is perfect if you're just heading out for the day, and this one can also charge 2 devices at once. So, my consumer advice is as follows. Do not buy a solar power bank. In fact, don't buy any large capacity power bank. They are cumbersome and the solar charging rate is very slow. The only reason to get one of these is if you are genuinely going into the wilderness for a few days. Most of you are better off getting a small and slim power bank, and you really don't need one bigger than 10,000 milliamp hours. So, there you have it. More useful consumer advice. There are links in the description if you decide you do want to buy any of the power banks I've featured in the show today. This has been another episode of Tech Tuesdays. I'll be back again next week with more. Later, nerds!